The only thing predictable about post-spawn walleye fishing is change. One day on the water doesn't tell much of a story. So I fished and filmed 4 days over the course of 10 on my home guiding waters of Lake Sakakawea with the goal of providing the most complete view of how the bite changes and progresses. I did my best to explain how these reservoir fish behave post-spawn compared to natural lakes and what I've noticed for spring patterns over the years. Here's how it played out.
What's up, fisher people? It's like the first warm day since the spawn, and it's like borderline hot today already in the morning, so that could be good things. Spawn was, for sure going April 26th, and today's May 9, so we're getting into that window. We got 49 degree water, nothing great, but could be in post-spawn mode. I just lost a fish that felt like a bass, I'll be honest. I'm out here on the east end of the lake, fairly close to Garrison. We'll get a second chance at it. That is very bassy. Very bassy. Smallmouth out of the water. Okay. Got the boat sitting in 13 feet. Pitching shallower, but I'm seeing marks that kind of look like walleyes in 13 feet right alongside the boat, which I don't know, that kind of seems more like a post-spawn rest position, not a feeding position if they're walleyes. Maybe it's just more bass. If we get one more bass, I'm out of here. It's also early, right? Almost 10:30. Sometimes you don't catch any willies until after 12. I think we're just in a bunch of hungry bass. Oh, look at that, we got a whitey. Smallmouth white bass. There's probably walleyes here, but maybe they'll bite better in the afternoon. Let's try another spot. We have moved yet again. Didn't see as many marks as I expected to see here. And then the ones that I finally did see were not as shallow as I wanted, but they're kind of in like 8 feet. Catchable fish, maybe. I'd still rather see them in like 2 to 5 feet, but worth a few casts anyway. But like most times, the morning hours, depending on how you look at it, can either be a waste of time or scouting time. So I have low expectations for this morning. I have semi-low expectations for the day as a whole. You never really know if you're on that first day. You know what I mean? It's hard to be the first. I know this might sound a little weird, but the fact that I'm marking fish and not getting bites makes me think they are in fact walleyes. Because we saw the bass were pretty jumpy, and then I even got a catfish in one of them spots. So I do think these are walleyes that are feeling like they're not quite ready to go. Sitting in 8 to 12 feet kind of thing. And some of you sitting here watching this are probably like, you're all excited, you're watching guys, other YouTubers fishing spots, getting a lot of hot action. They're fishing very different systems. They're fishing, even though like Green Bay and those kind of places are big bodies of water, they're not as deep. And they have different seasonal progressions. The water's probably warmer there. Fish spawned earlier. They came off the spawn earlier. They started biting better, quicker. When you're dealing with a deep, cold, river-fed reservoir like Sakakawea, it's a different ballgame. Our post-spawn bite always comes quite a bit later than them, sometimes a couple of weeks later, so we're close. It's very close. Also, another important note, those early days of post-spawn fishing when you're not sure if it's going yet or not, this is not the time where you need to be rifling through the tackle box, trying a lot of things. They will bite the jig and minnow. You might want to mess around with the size and maybe lighter line and all that kind of stuff, but spend all your time searching, looking for stained water, looking for warmer water, looking for windblown stuff, looking for more marks. When they first wake up, they're gonna want live bait. It's gonna be a jig and a minnow bite predominantly. Not saying you can't catch them on other things, but that's not where your focus is.
Well, day one provided a lot of information in terms of what the lake looked like and water clarity and temperatures, and also provided a handful of different fish, including smallmouth bass, white bass, and even a salmon. It did not provide any hungry walleyes just yet.
All right, we've waited a handful of days. The water has had a chance to warm up. That being said, we were struck with a thunderstorm last night and an ensuing cold front today. And I don't know if today will be the day they decide they're going to eat or not. But that's kind of my job to find out, I guess. So here we are. And it's a little tricky here when we got this north wind blowing out of the bay. Like typically, you know, you go to the back of the bay kind of trying to look for that warmer water, but then if you get wind pushing water around, it can move that warmer surface temp stuff around. So I'm kind of trying to look for wind-blown spots closer to the middle of the bay where some of that warmer stuff might be pushing into. Hopefully we can still find some spots that have pockets of nicer temp water. It's 49.5 here. Whereas if you remember the other day, we were kind of looking at 45 to 48, 49 stuff everywhere. So, oh, what happened there? That was a bite for sure, and then my bail went open. What the heck? I got so lucky with that. It feels like a walleye too. I don't know what happened there, but that bail just flung wide open when I set the hook, and the fish is somehow still on here. Oh goodness, that was wild. Now, boy, oh, that's heavy. This could be a pike again. Yeah, that's a pike. Can we land the pike without breaking the jig? That's my hope. I got a nice 16th ounce jig here with 8-pound monofilament, so okay. We will not lose our jig. Well, I got kind of lucky. He just had the jig right in the corner of his mouth. So, no jig lost, although he keeps dropping around my line. No jig lost, pike survives. Okay, well, we didn't catch any pike first few days out, so maybe that is a sign of things to come. For those of you that are local to Sakakawea and you're probably sitting here thinking, well, why don't you just drive to Newtown? Because there's a bite going at Newtown. You're absolutely correct. But that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is how to know when those lake spawners on the bigger part of the lake are ready for prime time. Oh my gosh, on the next cast, right when I got back to the boat, something tagged it again, and it almost feels like it might be another one of those. Pike. Or is it a big walleye? No way. No way. Oh, it seems the tables have turned, Mr. Powers. Ugly growth on that fish, though. That looks like an old lake female. Just scrawnier than heck, and got a nasty growth spot and jig way down there. I'm gonna need some tools. Oh, look at that, just pulled right out. Well, that's easy enough. That is our first post-spawn lake walleye on Sakakawea this year, and it came on the second cast after a pike. Although that fish was hanging kind of deep, I was pretty close to the boat, maybe in 12 feet. Cold front. Sound like a broken record in all my videos, but cold front. Fish go deeper. You're not going to find them in 20 or 30 feet, but you might find them in 12. Well, the last day that we were out felt close. There was a lot of hope getting a quick big pike and a big walleye right out the gate, and then all hopes were dashed for the rest of that day. But today we have gorgeous sunny skies. High is going to be in the low to mid 70s, and we're a day past that cold front. So I have, I don't know, a little bit of excitement running through me. Kind of feels like the first rather hot, active day potentially. There's only one way to find out, and that's to go try it. .7 degrees back here. Nice start on the water temperature. It's pretty muddy back here, however. We had a lot of rain, so we might have to go find some cleaner water. But if I mark a lot of fish, we're gonna try them. I'm not seeing no fish, but I'm not seeing a lot of fish. I'm usually seeing like 2 or 3 on my side scan at one time, which when you're moving at 3 miles an hour, that's not a lot of fish. Let's get a little more gung-ho about searching, and I'll turn the camera off until I find fish. A little more fish activity here. It's not heavy, but we'll throw 2 casts just in case they're heavy biters. Sometimes you may only mark like 10 fish, but they bite really well and you catch 7 or 8 of them. Other times you might mark 1,000 fish and they just don't bite, you know? Ooh. This might not be a bass. This might be what we're looking for. What do we think? I think it's a walleye. Oh, my net's stuck, of course. Of course my net's stuck. It is, in fact, a walleye. It's getting kind of busy in here now. I'm sure these people are going to be all excited to see a walleye. Milk and male. Ooh, juicy. Juicy, juicy. Okay. So we've had 2 days in a row that we've caught at least one walleye. That last spot did not maintain its productivity. Well, I mean, it kind of did. Bass, catfish, everything else. I think we got another bass here probably. After that one milk and male at noon, I was like, I'll bet we catch a few of them here in the next couple hours, and it hasn't really happened. It's kind of the deal this time of the year. It's just like you get these little flickers of like, oh, is it, oh, yeah, is it ready? Little hope and then dashed, and one of these days we're going to come out here and it's just going to be ready. They're just going to bite. We're going to catch them. It's going to be the same general areas, spots. You just want to get wrapped up all over that line, don't you? Little smallmouth. I swear if this is another smallmouth bass, I'm out of here. I don't know, it might be a catfish. Oh, it's a big walleye. Oh, well that changes things. Let's get this big walleye in the boat, huh? God, that fought like a smallmouth, and then it fought like a catfish. And it turns out it's actually a nice walleye. Oh, wow. Didn't see that coming. Well, that one wanted it. I was ever going to lose a walleye from a line break, that was it. 21, 22. Dandy fish. That kind of looks like it's not milking. I don't know. All right, this is going to be the last day of this little video. And we've had one very obvious, the fish are ready, post-spawn bite kind of days. That was 2 days ago. I was out at a slightly different area and I was with Big Muddy doing some scouting. We did not film that day, but we did catch 18 fish. So we had like 2 or 3 days in a row where it was like consistent weather on the warmer side in the 70-degree range, and that got them going. What I've been trying to show here is like how this progression goes. Like once you finally start to get a little hint of a bite post spawn, what does it look like next? And it all revolves around consistent weather, preferably warming weather, and that'll get things going. And then if you happen to get another cold front or a big wind day like we did yesterday, then it can go back the other direction. The spring, getting this thing going is so dependent on consistent weather. Yesterday it blew 25 to 30 with some higher gusts, and it's bad for 2 reasons. Like first of all, there's obviously a cold front again, but when the wind blows like that, it mixes all that water around. So now all of a sudden our surface temps are 47 degrees, whereas we were like in the mid 50s 2 days ago. So all that shallow water that was drawing in active fish now does not have the water temp they're looking for. They probably retreat a little deeper, 8 to 12 feet. They probably get a little less active. So I don't know what today's going to bring for fish catching, but this has been more of a purpose-driven video to give people a feel for like, how does this, I don't think that was a walleye. How does this post-spawn bite evolve? What are the things to look for? And how do you have confidence knowing like, whether you catch 3 fish or 30, you were doing it right, and that was just what was in the cards that day, given the fish's mood, given the weather, all that kind of stuff. Ooh. What this? Bass or walleye? Bass or walleye? Come on. I think it might be a walleye. Oh yeah, it is. And it's only 9:30 in the morning. Oh, happy days. Happy days. Let's get this fish in the boat so we can prove it. Come on. There we go. So the bite is a little more finicky than it was 2 days ago before that crappy weather rolled through, but like I said, it's definitely a different day. I'm seeing fish on the graph that I want to see. They're in the right areas, and we already got a walleye in the boat. It's not fishing 10 different spots for 4 hours without getting a single bite, kind of like, it's there to be had if we can get consistent weather patterns. And we got a wind switch today. So yesterday was a big west wind, which would have been blown into here. And it's already starting to pick up going the other way. So I wanted to hit this spot early because that'll probably push these fish right on out of here. There, I marked a pod of several as I was cruising here. Probably 5 of them sitting out here and a couple of them out deeper. Boats in almost 10 feet. Let's see if I don't get bit by these pretty soon. I might go looking around to see what else is happening. Well, I went back to the start of this thing where I actually got the first few bites, and that was quick. They just seem to be more active down here. That's another walleye. in the net. There's not as many marks down here, but they're biting, so. Skinny little male. See ya, dog. That one hit right below the boat. Caught me off guard. I was trying to get my plastic over here. Not your impressive Sakakawea picture fish, but you know, good 16, 17 eating fish. Well, it's 10:20. We've already caught more fish than any other days in this video, so things are continuing to change and get better because so many things now are dependent upon the right water temperature. Because you got to imagine there's super, super cold water not too far below the surface. That surface temp is what warms up when you get a sunny day. And then if you get a bunch of wind, it just mixes everything. So now all of a sudden, the surface temp is way, way, way colder. Like the lake as a whole didn't change that much. But you probably had, you know, that 3, 4, 5 foot of water stuff was nice and warm. So they're all sliding up in there. Now it's not, which makes them retreat back down because they're like, oh, that's maybe actually colder than what's down in 8 feet now. So they're looking for that warm, comfortable stuff, you know? Looked around a bit, didn't find much. I'm gonna start fishing the new wind stuff now. Are the fish here yet? Found me a smallmouth bass. Not what I was hoping for. Next cast, I hooked up again. I should have left the camera. This feels different. That's a good one right there. A little bigger than we were getting on the first spot of the day. A little thicker. Another sign you're starting to get a good post-spawn bite. Fish on multiple spots. That is a big deal. We didn't just luck into one pod that happened to be randomly hungry. We found them on 2 spots. How come we're not biting here yet? Because the water's colder, Brett. We're not as happy today. I know. Well, people really want to see on their TV though. Or their phones. I don't know. Where do you watch most of these videos? On your phone, on your TV, on your computer? How do you do it? Now I got one over there. 30 feet. Should be away from that snag, I hope. Oh, that's a fish. I thought it was a snag. It's close to that snag and I thought, oh no, I threw it in the wrong spot. But it was a fish. Is that a bass again? Ah, bugger. And he threw my minnow. This spot's got way more bass eggs and walleyes, so why don't we try elsewhere? But we got a very important walleye on a different spot, so that's good. There's something up here shallow. The walleye's got to bite right quick. The boat's in 6, my bait's not that much. Oh, got him. Oh, we came off. I had such an awkward hook set. I was turning to look at the graph. Oh, the minnow's still on. I should have dropped it back. Okay. Dang it. All right, now I'm paying attention. We got something happening back there, maybe. Next cast, I got one. This is a bass. Was the other one a bass? We don't know. Cruising by finishing my lunch, but that screen was a little hard to ignore. It's a spot we caught him earlier in this video, just a little further out. I have a little more confidence in them biting if they were a couple feet shallower, but well, it's been a while, but we got another walleye here to bite. Decent one. Up pretty well. Getting the boat a little goopy. That is our 5th one of the day. That's the first time that's ever happened to me. Yeah, that was, you know what happened. Not sure how I feel about that. Well, I know how I feel about that, not good. Payback, sometimes, is unfriendly. Well, for those keeping track at home, that is our first day with a North Dakota limit on video on Sakakawea post spawn, so there's that. Things should only get better from here. I don't know why I decided to do this, but I'm always trying to think of like, what's something different I can do? Like, instead of just going out and fishing one day, what if I fish like 4 days with cameras over the course of 10 to show you what it's like when we're just like waiting, chomping at the bit to start catching walleyes again after the spawn on Lake Sakakawea. That's the experience I was trying to deliver. And it's been, because like my brain's still like, every day when I come back out, I'm like starting the tape over from the last video and remembering what I said then. And it feels like I've filmed one 10-day video.